coverage now, breaking news coverage, preempting for now our friend Harvey Levin and TMZ. Christine, as we watch this murder suspect being chased through the streets of Southern California.
I haven't really noticed, Alex, are people on the sidewalks too much or in the crosswalks. We've been lucky, given this hour could be a time where people out perhaps, you know, walking to get a bite to eat or walking their dog. We haven't seen a lot of that. It's been a dangerous pursuit with the driver kind of weaving in and out of traffic on the freeway and now kind of maneuvering through these surface streets, kind of staying in the Pomona area. It started in a Riverside area, so not where it originally started. But as we watch this here, staying on these surface streets, despite the options to get back on the freeways, which will be much more open at this hour.
Yeah, just getting some new information from our assignment desk. So the initial, we've been talking about this as a possible murder suspect, also wanted for assault on a sheriff's deputy. Again, Riverside County Sheriff's deputy. Not clear if that was, they were trying to apprehend this person, potentially for murder, and then the assault happened. Still need more details there as we now go into a residential neighborhood, driving through an alley here. But now,
narrow alley. Look at that.
Those are two things, Rick. If you want to say two things that will get law enforcement riled up and get the attention of law enforcement, it is one, to be a murder suspect, and two, to then try to attack a sheriff's deputy as well.
Absolutely. So we're learning more about this. So is that in addition to the murder suspect, the murder one?
We believe it is in addition to. We do not have any reports, at least yet, thankfully, of you know, the death of a law enforcement officer, but we're still trying to get details on everything that's happening here.
And that assault may have occurred during the early stages of this pursuit. That typically happens. We see that where once a suspect knows that he or she is being tracked and then chased by law enforcement, they start driving erratically, and perhaps he did bump a Riverside County Sheriff's deputy. We don't know that yet. We don't know the details on that, but that does happen at times. Or maybe it was a different situation that happened a day or more ago. Those are questions that will be answered. But the bottom line, this suspect, this an alleged murder suspect, and a suspect who's wanted for assault on a sheriff's deputy, is ripping through a residential area in very narrow alleys where kids could be playing, people could be walking their dogs. It's sunset, it's evening, it's springtime, the temperatures are beautiful out there right now, no strong winds, people out enjoying Southern California, and they're at risk, and there you go right there. Yeah, just a quick left turn there, a hard left turn, and that vehicle was coming upon that suspect in that black pickup truck.
So, okay, and there's a law enforcement vehicle right there. It looked like made a turn, and it's going to be on his tail. We'll see if he's able to catch up with him here. So now it looks like law enforcement.
Or if the driver just came upon him, you know, because he may not
White
be
and Bonita, again, still in the Pomona area. And those are the turns right there that are so dangerous. Coming out of an alley, a narrow alley, and really not looking. Right. You could see that law enforcement helicopter that just zipped by in front of our Skyfox camera there. Our extreme nav system, we always have you covered there. You can see the speed, the speedometer there in the upper right corner, indicating how fast that suspect is trying to evade the law enforcement agencies in pursuit. They're ripping through that stoplight, and again, they can technically write this suspect up for every single traffic violation, doing loops, 180s. It's even hard for us, even with our extreme nav, to keep track of the exact location, but this is a really dangerous situation, and again, not a good situation to try that pursuit intervention technique in terms of that hit maneuver, trying to spin that vehicle out. It's a heavy-duty vehicle, and there's a lot going on likely in this residential area.
And Rick, to just get some clarifying information from what I said before, because we are getting more information from law enforcement now. So this person is a murder suspect, law enforcement, Riverside County Sheriff's in the neighborhood surveilling the murder suspect. At that point, during the surveillance of the murder suspect, a deputy is struck. Not clear if that is with a vehicle or, you know, some other sort of interaction. At that moment, the pursuit began, And that is what we are still looking at now at 6:36 on this evening, the pursuit of this murder suspect who also was violent with law enforcement as well.
And very interesting how brazen the suspect is. It appears that that window, that driver's side window, if I'm not mistaken, Alex and Christine, has been rolled down pretty much the entire duration of this pursuit. And the bottom line is that they're running because if indeed this male suspect driving the vehicle or the passenger, we're not sure, is the murder suspect, they're going to do whatever they can. Why do they run? Because they want to get out. They want to get out of the way of police and try just by that slim chance to get away into a gas station.
He's going to get gas.
Does this come to an end right here?
Is this
oh my
or
God.
no? Is that a drive-through, or is he using this to turn?
I couldn't tell if that was a drive-through or a gas station, but just use that as a little cut-through.
Yeah.
And now on Gary Avenue, staying in the same area, though, I will say, knowing my through that intersection there, that's where you got to hold your breath because you don't know what's going to happen.
At the
bottom line is
look at the speeds here too, Rick.
in the upper right.
Yeah.
Staying in the same area now, though, I will say that. It seems like the suspect now is doing loops in the same Pomona area. You know, the Pomona Fairgrounds there, near where the 60, the 10, the 57 all merge, the 10 to the north, the 60 to the south. The 210 is the farthest east-west freeway to the north, the foothill. Route 66, as we all know it here in Southern California. And off to the right there, slowing down. So
thankfully,
close.
no collision there.
Yeah.
And we know
that was within inches.
Can be a collision. We do have some video from a little earlier. If you're just joining us, usually watching TMZ at this time, we want to show you. So on the bottom of your screen, this was from a little earlier. You see the driver leading right there to a crash between two other vehicles, not involving the driver itself, but because the driver was so brazen, there was a crash.
Well, I think kind of we're saying they might have bumped bumpers, not so much high-speed kind of crash if they were going at full speed, but kind of tapping bumpers. But you do have to wonder why that one vehicle did bump into the, like a head-on type of crash there, because I'm thinking perhaps they were.
Look at that.
Really
going against traffic there. Coming down Town Avenue, which is a very busy thoroughfare there, 50 miles an hour, now back over to the right, thankfully staying in his lane, so to speak, but still, and they're watching this. Law enforcement agencies from all over that area are watching this, and they're at a command post now in through that inner area where, because they're seeing the backup, because there's a light here, and this is a situation he's going to rip through that light, make a hard right turn there onto Arrow Highway, still staying in the same area. How are they going to bring this to an end? Because every second that this pursuit continues with the erratic nature, Christine and Alex, of this suspect, this alleged murder suspect, this suspect who allegedly made impact with a sheriff's deputy from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, how long are they going to let this go on?
Well, Rick, I'm wondering now if law enforcement does indeed know who this driver is. If they were doing surveillance on a murder suspect, the driver then took off, and that's where you have the assault on a deputy. I'm wondering if
those units are
where
right
this
behind
person
him.
lives and who they are.
It seems like they have more intel on the suspect than we do, and that they were from what you and Alex reported, Christine, that you both heard that they were tracking. They knew about this suspect. They were essentially going to try to perhaps serve a warrant or arrest that suspect, and in that particular situation, you could see all those units there. There was an opportunity for that driver to get away.
So I'm looking at a comment here on our Facebook page. Somebody's saying that police should do more to not let him get away. The question is, if this is a murder suspect, are they armed with a weapon? And then do you do a pit maneuver? Do you do a spike strip? I mean, Rick, has the driver been going in a similar area where they know how to predict where to throw out a spike strip?
No.
And you could see, because that helicopter down below there that you just saw on the lower portion of our screen there, that's a law enforcement helicopter, and it appeared that that was a Riverside County air unit there tracking this. We're up in Skyfox above those law enforcement helicopters, which are down in the dirt, as we call it, from all my years up in Skyfox, 400 or 500 feet AGL. We're up at about 1,000 feet or higher watching this. And that's the question we just don't know the answer to, Christine and Alex, in terms of they're coordinating. They're talking to the air unit. They're talking to these units on the ground. This is a mutual aid situation. Now on Laverne Avenue, staying in the same general area, still driving very dangerously, very erratically. As I keep saying, every second this pursuit goes on, there is the opportunity for somebody, some innocent person, a pedestrian, a bicyclist. That's a great shot there. You could see that against traffic there to be hurt. And you could say, what is this guy? Oh no, that's a unit. It appeared first that it was an unmarked unit. But they're trailing
heavy duty
this
vehicle.
Suspect. They're not giving up at all. They're not giving up at all. They're staying on this suspect. They want to bring him into custody. Again, an alleged murder suspect and an individual who we're just hearing now that may have had some sort of incident with a sheriff's deputy as well, which adds to the energy here, trying to bring this suspect into custody, an alleged murder suspect. The bottom line is that this suspect was lit up at some point, didn't pull over, and the pursuit was on. And it's gone on from the Inland Empire into LA County, back towards the IE, on the 60 freeway, first westbound coming out of Riverside County into LA County, exiting in Diamond Bar in Los Angeles County, doing a quick 180 back onto the 60 freeway eastbound. He encountered a huge backup on the 60 because there was a problem at Central Avenue, which I was tracking with the California Highway Patrol. And then now on surface streets in that same general area, very close to now the San Bernardino and Los Angeles County line. And it's unclear if this suspect even knows this area at all. And we see these pursuits, Alex and Christine, end because sometimes they make a left turn into an alley or in a cul-de-sac, and there's nowhere to go.
So
we'll
now
see.
we're in a parking lot. And now we're getting back onto
getaway there.
Uh-oh, so now there's that heavy-duty law enforcement vehicle. Almost tried to hit him
These
there.
units are all over. They are all, and one benefit to law enforcement now is that because the suspect is choosing to stay against traffic through the rail system there, that's the Metrolink rails that run east and west coming out of the IE into LA County there. What they're able to do now, because the suspect is choosing to stay in a general vicinity in this area off the
traffic, wrong way and traffic.
Wow. There's units all over. There's units to the wow.
You almost want to look away because you don't want to see how this could end.
Okay, so this is getting more and more dangerous. We're now high stakes, going the wrong way against traffic at 60 miles an hour. This desperate murder suspect who also apparently attacked a sheriff's deputy on the loose, and you feel for all of the folks right now who do not know what is coming and their direction as this truck is driving.
Northbound and southbound lanes, Alex and Christine, on Town Avenue, which is a highly trafficked area. You could see that white sedan pulling over to the right.
Okay.
These drivers don't know. They're coming up southbound. Now
all right, well, at least we avoided a collision there.
Boulevard.
Yeah, which is good news that we avoided a collision there. I mean, the thing that also, you know, if and when there is a end to this pursuit, the apprehension of these suspects is also a very dangerous situation, because we know that there's at least 2 people in that truck. We don't know if there are more. We know at least one of them is wanted for murder. We know that at least one of them assaulted an officer. Now this guy, again, throwing his hand out the window, taunting the law enforcement behind him as he drives through traffic. Now up onto the sidewalk.
Up on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk, 60 miles an hour. That's Foothill Boulevard. That's a 60.
You wonder about that car there.
That is Route 66. Route 66 that parallels the 210 freeway there, but now made a right turn back onto Gary Avenue, again staying in the same general vicinity. And it's unclear if that's just by chance or perhaps this suspect knows this area, although we heard that this started well east of this location. 95, 80 miles an hour on Gary Avenue here. This is, again, every second, every minute, Alex and Christine, I'm holding my breath here because I've seen so many of these situations and where just an innocent person is either struck, a pedestrian, a bicyclist. Okay, now
is he stopping?
Something's stopping here.
The way law enforcement
Nope,
are acting.
did a 180.
Turn around.
Did
Oh
a
my
180.
gosh.
Back now south on Gary Avenue. So northbound on Gary
wrong way
Avenue, now
again, wrong way.
southbound on Gary Avenue. Speed 75, 80 miles an hour. This isn't a freeway,
devastating to
folks.
see.
This is a major thoroughfare here on Gary Avenue, and you know, we talk about, Alex and Christine, have we ever seen anything like this? Is this the most insane pursuit that we've seen? No, it's not. We've seen this situation play out so many times,
right.
And I believe that there has been an uptick during COVID times as well with these pursuits, and all we can do is hope and pray that this ends where nobody who's an innocent person out there, whether they be in a vehicle, they're walking, they're running, they're riding their bike, are not injured.
Well, and it's interesting, Rick, the way you phrase that, because, you know, when we first joined this pursuit about an hour ago, a little more than an hour ago, that, you know, it was like, okay, this guy is just driving through traffic. What is this? And as we've been together, watching this together with our viewers, we learn that he's wanted for murder, that he's wanted for assaults on a deputy, that he is clearly driving erratically, that he's willing to go against traffic, that he has thrown the middle finger at law enforcement out the window, thrown evidence out the window, and all of these things that have made what started as a pretty benign pursuit where we didn't even know what he was wanted for into a really dangerous situation, and one of the more dangerous pursuits we've seen in some time, Rick. And now we see pedestrians out there.
Exactly. Again, taking pictures, video. Please stay inside safely because you have no idea. We already saw this driver went up on the curb for a short time, and you're putting yourself in danger. If you have your kids out there, you're going to put them in danger. Bottom line, please stay inside. Don't try to be a hero. You don't need to record it. You can watch it right here from Skybox. We've got great pictures. We have our extreme nav system tracking exactly where, geographically here in Southern California, where this pursuit is. All right, now it looks like this is right up against the tracks. Those are Metrolink tracks, which run east-west here, still staying in the same general vicinity here. And there's more people. There you go.
Yeah,
recording
people
right on the corner. The one thing,
on the sidewalk, yeah.
very quickly, Alex and Christine, the one thing that is good about the situation is that this alleged murder suspect and a suspect who may have had an incident with a sheriff deputy, that they're staying in the same neighborhood, so officers all over are holding traffic and trying to prevent anybody from getting hurt. And this driver now slowing down.
Yeah, this driver coming to a crawl here after that intersection there where there were people there on the sidewalk. Now, we've talked about this driver staying in the same vicinity for some time now. We're talking about the Pomona area here, being on Gary, being on Town Avenue. You have to wonder, did that driver know those people on the corner? They seem to be reacting to the driver or not, but that driver did come to a slow there, and more people there on the street reacting, perhaps.
Getting closer. I mean, are they going to try? The speeds are down. The speeds are down under 35 miles an hour. That's typically the threshold, but this is a heavy-duty truck. To spin that vehicle out is not an easy task, but this is the closest that I've seen this unit, and it's a K-9 unit there, and it's unclear if that's still the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. They are the lead agency. That's the agency that we heard that there was some sort of confrontation, some sort of incident where this alleged murder suspect had some type of situation with a deputy from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department.
Well,
it's slowing down a little bit.
Not only that, remember, they were doing surveillance on a murder suspect when that happened with the deputy there, that assault on the deputy there. So the question now is, who is that driver and who is that passenger in the vehicle that's been there the whole time during this pursuit that's gotten really dangerous at times?
And there hasn't, I keep watching because sometimes we have seen situations where there are passengers in these pursuits, and whenever there's an opportunity, say the pursuit slows down, the vehicle that's being pursued slows down, that other individual in a passenger side seat in the front there or in the back bail. They jump out because they don't want anything to do with this. We haven't seen that yet, but there hasn't been a lot of opportunities. We're hearing unconfirmed reports, though, that other individual inside this vehicle is a female. Not confirmed, but it's possible that it's a female there, and it's unclear the relationship between the driver, the alleged murder suspect, and that individual that could very well be a female. Slower speeds now back on Gary Avenue, staying in their lane, so to speak, in terms of the neighborhood, and it's unclear. They could be talking to family, to friends, to law enforcement. They could have called 911 and said, "Hey, this is the situation. We've heard that before as well. How do we end this? What do we do?" But definitely seeing a change in the tone of the driver. Would you agree?
Yeah, you wonder if something has happened to the vehicle, if the car is running out of gas, or what would lead to this, dramatic slowdown at this point. And this is the kind of speed, Rick, where you would potentially see a pit maneuver.
Yeah, but again, that SUV, that law enforcement SUV, just 20, 30 feet behind this big heavy-duty pickup truck, that's a hard task, but they can do it. We've seen it before. You could see the driver's side window still rolled down there. Again, perhaps a female inside the front of that vehicle as well, but definitely a change in the tone. Looks like he threw something out again outside the window there, but still staying on Gary Avenue. That was the 10 freeway, by the way, that crossed over Gary Avenue. Gary is, again, a north-south street, and they are staying, this suspect, this alleged murder suspect that has led deputies from Riverside County, from other law enforcement agencies, on a long-term, high-speed, dangerous pursuit coming out of perhaps Harupa Valley, westbound on the 60 freeway, through Moreno Valley, towards the Riverside interchange, into LA County, towards the 57, Diamond Bar Boulevard, exiting there, making a 180, getting back eastbound on the 60, huge backup because of a bad accident at Central Avenue that had at least one lane blocked. He exited the freeway and now pretty much staying on surface streets in this area, now making a left turn onto Holt Avenue from Gary.
It's interesting to think of why the driver is staying in the Pomona area. Remember, this started in Riverside around the 215 with Riverside County Sheriff's Department. And now, since the driver has gotten off on surface streets, largely staying in this Pomona area. But Rick, can you tell, is the driver going like in circles where they could possibly put out a spike strip?
That's a great question, and I will tell you, as I had mentioned just a short time ago, this gives law enforcement an upper hand that the suspect is kind of following the trend of staying in the same general area. That means
out the window.
Looks like something else was just thrown out of the vehicle there again, some white object, that they're going to have more law enforcement officers, whether it be from local municipalities, whether it be more from the Sheriff's Department, from Riverside County, from LA County, because we're in an area right now, as we've got a little bit of a hiccup there, back on it on Skyfox there, that they are able to essentially encompass this whole area, hold intersections that's busy, to hold people back, knowing that, you know what, this pursuit might be ripping through this busy intersection, and this driver has shown a tendency to run red lights at a very high rate of speed, endangering the public, so they can set up at those intersections, hold them back, they can set up a spike strip, as you said, they can do whatever they can to try to bring this to a safe ending, and now we're in a parking lot here. We'll see how this plays out. Unclear if this driver, this alleged murder suspect, has any plan at all, except trying to evade police.
Yeah, but again, staying in this Pomona area, which is so interesting, you do have to wonder how much gas is in that vehicle and how long they can go.
Okay, whoa, look at that. And the law enforcement right there. Look at all the swarm
of
law enforcement vehicles
I mean, look at how many officers are there. Look at how many officers are there. Like I said, they're just setting up shop in this area because the suspect isn't trying to make his way north, well away from this area, east or west, now picking up speed again, just as he thought that perhaps he was going to back off a little bit and the tone of this pursuit changed. He said, forget it, because he saw all those units. He says, I'm out of here. I'm going to try to do whatever I can because I can. The longer that this pursuit goes on, the longer I'm not in custody. That's the mindset. And you can see all those people on the corner there. It looks like a mini market of some sort, making a hard right turn.
Side.
Now into a narrow
look at the passenger
alley.
Side there. Rick, we finally got an inside look there of that passenger in a red shirt. Again, we don't know if that person is a willing participant in this entire pursuit. There's been no attempts to bail or to let the passenger out. We've been covering this for more than an hour now.
and they have their window down as well. We got one unconfirmed report. It could be a female. That has not been confirmed at this time. But now just ripping through these residential areas. And again, it's a beautiful evening here in Southern California. We're coming up on 25 minutes or so until sunset. Temperatures are pleasant. There isn't any high winds. People perhaps out after a day at work or what have you, enjoying a spring break week. And thankfully, we haven't yet seen anything tragic happen. But with each second, with each minute that goes on, the threat of that is definitely in the air. Now on San Antonio Avenue, back on a busier street here. But as you mentioned, Christine and Alex, still staying in the same general area. Now
beware of these people. Going into a parking lot here. It looks like a grocery store parking lot
a mini
and
mall,
a strip mall.
Like type,
people are there, people out for the night with their kids, people parking their vehicles, and then all of a sudden, this comes into their neighborhood.
In this parking lot here.
In circles in the parking lot.
Oh,
Ooh, watch
wow,
out.
Across.
Oh my God, and you feel these people that are in the middle of all this.
This is awful. This is awful. And that's the other thing where I say it gives law enforcement the upper hand, because now they're staging in this area. We saw almost like a little mini command post at that last intersection. But what it also causes is for more and more people to come out. Hey, that's right down the street. Let's go out. Let's check it out. Let's video this. Not safe to do. Please, everybody. Make the impact with the big rig. This was just
a pursuit end like this.
It was just. It was
Will
waiting
it
to
end?
happen.
Will it
Now
keep
you can have
trying to
officers.
drive?
That's a canine. That's a canine unit right now, and that canine is going to go in and get that driver if there's that opportunity. Big Rig's pulling up. Big Rig doesn't know. That driver doesn't know what's going on. Guns drawn there. It looks like the airbags have been deployed. It looks like the passenger side, somebody could be gesturing out there. The windshield wipers are on. That could just be a bump or what have you. But it was a significant, severe enough impact with that Big Rig. And if this vehicle, if this pickup truck, Alex and Christine, had an impact with anybody,
the Big Rig's get me out of here.
A Big Rig is the perfect vehicle, because other vehicles, those smaller sedans, would have been taken out. That Big Rig took that crash, and now we're surrounding the vehicle, and this is where it gets ultra dangerous. And it's unclear if the driver of that Big Rig even knows, wait, what is this? Just was this guy just coming along and hit me? Does he know? Probably not.
He sees the police.
That driver got out of that truck very quickly, because you can see that many law enforcement behind this guy. You can tell this is a serious thing. I mean, as we pull out a little bit, you can see just the number of different law enforcement that is there, including that police with the canine there. And now this, we'll see if this turns into a standoff situation. We also don't know if the driver or the suspect are injured at all by the fact. I mean, that was a pretty hard collision.
The passenger there, clearly, and this is a big, heavy-duty pickup truck. So if this pickup truck was going to collide with anything or anybody, this is the right vehicle, too, because it appears that the driver of that Big Rig, thankfully, was okay, was able to get out of the cab, and now is in safety. It looks like the passenger there in a red shirt, possibly a female, has his or her hands out at this time. Airbags were deployed. You could see the front end damage to that truck is
the drivers, both of them are waving their arms, Rick. The passenger gesturing there.
As well.
You saw the driver there gesturing. You have to wonder, hang on, Rick, hang on. You have to wonder if they're going to try to surrender here, but are they trapped in the vehicle? Are they trying to signal to law enforcement that they're willing to give up? But this is a dangerous situation, because remember, this is a murder suspect who led police on this very dangerous pursuit with his crash here into this Big Rig.
And that vehicle was xylophoned. You could see that pickup truck, and you're right. Those doors, whether it be the driver's side or the passenger side, may not work at this time. But the bottom line is the officers are communicating with both the driver and the suspect there in the passenger side. And you can see, at least on the passenger side, hands are out. So doing what he or she is told. Unclear if it is a female, but clearly showing we need to see your hands. We're gonna give you strict commands here. There's a protocol here so that each of you can give yourself up, and we'll take you into custody, and we'll end this thing altogether without anybody else being hurt.
Rick, thank you. It is now 7 o'clock. This is the time of the evening where we say welcome to the Fox 11 News special report. Tonight, a bit of a different tone as we look at the end of this extraordinary pursuit of a murder suspect. I'm Alex Michelson along with Rick Dickert. Also, Marla Tejas now joining our coverage. Christine Devine will be back with us a little bit later on tonight at 10 after doing a great job with our coverage here. And Rick, what we have been just witness for people that may be just tuning into us at 7 o'clock now, this is a murder suspect and a passenger, we presume, that have now led officers in a multi-hour-long pursuit. It ended with a crash into the only vehicle that we can think of that might be bigger and stronger than that truck, which is this big rig. Probably the only vehicle that could have caused this much damage to it that drove right into the big wig rig. And
this is the real critical part, because you could see the driver there in a black shirt showing his hands at this time, trying to get outside the vehicle, but it clearly it looks as if that door was impacted as well because of that hard front-end collision with the big rig there. But it appears that the driver is giving up at this time, trying to exit the vehicle. But again, it's unclear that if he can get out, he should be getting out with his hands up. So and he's not showing his hands as clearly as he should be, as is the individual in the red shirt on the passenger side. Now he is. Okay, now he's getting out, and he's laying out. Looks like he's in red shorts there, crawling away from the vehicle, and looks like he may be injured. And it would be that left leg, because look at all that hard impact that was made on the left side of the vehicle there. So he's looking back, perhaps, at his passenger, possibly a female at this time. They're watching this from the air, from the ground, giving him strict orders to lay out with his hands up, but he's still not doing exactly what he should be. His hands should be completely off to the left and right, and that's not happening at this time. But there we go. So hands in visible sight, and Rick, it seems like the passenger can't exit the vehicle.
Rick, we want to bring Marla Tejas into our coverage now. And Marla, what an extraordinary few hours it's been here.
Yeah, this pursuit getting underway more than 90 minutes ago. There are reports that this started potentially in San Diego County before making their way to Riverside County and then eventually LA County. So across 3 counties perhaps, and here we are, this violent crash involving this truck and this big rig. As soon as that impact happened, you saw those airbags deployed. So the suspect, Rick, crawling away, is this according to officers' orders?
Towards the gun's drawn.
It's kind of rare. I haven't seen this before. There's a dog, there's a canine unit there. They're going to take this guy into custody regardless. I mean, he's outmanned, so he's going to be in custody. They're dragging him now. And those are sheriff's deputies. You just mentioned, Marla, and I'm following this on social media as well, so that we get reports, firsthand reports, and we appreciate you on Facebook, on Twitter, that one of our followers said that they saw this starting in the Temecula area at Temecula Parkway at 4:30. So this has been going on for some time. Now we're going to see, it appears that the passenger isn't able to exit the vehicle on his or her own will at this time, but clearly putting their hands up. Again, we got word, unconfirmed reports that is a female.
Certainly looks to be the case, and you wonder what kind of injuries this person has and what this person's connection to all of this is. Again, this started as a murder suspect that law enforcement was surveilling, and then when they caught up with this murder suspect, that murder suspect apparently struck a law enforcement officer in some way, which is why they're not taking any chances. Those are the 2 things that are about as serious as it gets when it comes to law enforcement. And now the question is this female? We presume that the female is not the murder suspect. We don't know that. I mean, she could be the murder suspect and he's just the driver. But we don't know her relationship to this driver, and we don't know how badly she may be injured because of the impact of that collision. Hopefully we can get that video re-queued soon where we can watch that collision. Okay, now here she comes.
Here she comes. So she's out. She's doing exactly what she's being told over a bullhorn. Just clear instructions, hands out. We want to see you. Lay out on the roadway there. And again, she could be an innocent bystander.
Walking
We
in
don't
high
know that at
heels
this time.
backwards. Look at
Yes,
that.
absolutely. So she doesn't appear to be too badly injured. The driver, though, it appeared that his right leg was badly injured, and that was the brunt of the impact of that truck hitting that side of the big rig there. And we called it. If it was any vehicle that truck could have struck, it's a big rig that took it down, because it could have been catastrophic otherwise. Female suspect now being taken into custody, being handcuffed, being detained. We'll find out more about her, the driver, the alleged murder suspect, in custody as well. So this is going to come to a conclusion here.
Rick, we know the old joke about Ginger Rogers did everything that Fred Astaire did, except backwards in high heels. I'm not used to seeing the end of one of these with a walk backwards in high heels like that. Was quite something to see as well. I mean, the good news, Rick, considering how unbelievably reckless this driver was